Hey, it's Jennifer from Quiltin', Stitchin', and Kitties. Today I'm going to do block number 6 of our Creativity Sew Along. And the block is called Clover, which I think is very appropriate because my llama buddy wanted to visit. After looking at my llama, I decided with those cute little eyelashes that she was a girl and not a boy. So I've been struggling with names. I came up with one, Holly Llama, because my previous Sheltie's name was Holly, but I'm still not quite sure. Let me show you how to do the clover block. Seems like a lot of pieces, but it's not too bad. My block is going to finish at 6, so I have 3 at 3.5 inch square, 1 at 1 inch by 5.5 inch rectangle, background 1 4-inch square cut in half diagonally, and 9 1.5 inch squares of the background. So let me show you how to get started with this. Take your 2 pieces to the 4.5 inch square and get them in camera, and your 5.5 inch strip, and you're going to be sewing these together. So sew it to one side first, press it towards the dark, and then sew it to the other side, trying very hard to get these triangles lined up. Now I've had you make it a little bit bigger, so we're going to be able to trim it down in case it's not perfect. So that's what you do with that part. Then on the squares, we're going to put 3 of the 1.5 inch squares on the corners. And that's why you have to mark them. And then we're going to sew them just inside the line on the side pointing to the corner. So actually put a little X on the corners for you to show you that's the side of the line that you want to sew that little extra closer to the corner so it flips really good. So you're going to do that to all 3 of your 3.5 inch focus squares. Before you trim the edges, make sure that your flip over is good and you can end up with a nice 3.5 inch square. I will do that and then I will be back. I've sewn the 3 squares to each of the corners on the 3 blocks. I've trimmed these and I've checked them to see if they're needed to be trimmed to 3.5, and they were very close. So just in case you're not sure what to do, there's my drawn line. What I'm going to do is flip this over and make sure that it goes to the edge of the square. If it doesn't, I might have to unstitch it and do it again. Then once I'm sure it's okay, then what I do is I trim off this extra piece here at 1/4 inch. So I put my ruler with the 1/4 inch marking on the line that I stitched, and then I trim off this edge, and then I fold it out. I usually finger press first to help me, and then I stitch. And then I iron. Now, if you're having trouble with your edges flipping up, that is not unusual. I typically use a little bit of best press to spray these to keep those corners down. They just really do want to flip. Okay, so we've got those 3 pieces done. Now, what do we do with this? Well, we need to square it up to 3.5. So I have pressed my light color to the center, made sure it's nice and flat. I used a little best press on that too. And then get the smallest ruler that you have that's 3.5 inch square or larger. And you're going to use the 45-degree line. Yeah, there it is, going right across like this. Oops, I can't do that looking at the camera. So there's my 45-degree. I'm going to put that right in the center of the green strip. So I can move my ruler around whatever way I need to. But in this case, my edges are pretty good. So I'm going to almost be able to use 2 of my edges, but I really need that line right in the center. You can mark it or you can just do it by eye. So when you're squaring something up, first you cut one side, then you cut the other, then you turn the block 90 degrees twice, 180 degrees. These edges are now perfectly cut. So now I put my 3.5 inch mark on those two edges, and then I trim these two sides. So that's how you trim a square, especially if you're trying to get a perfect 45-degree angle, which sometimes can be hard. So how do you put it together? I'm going to do this right side up to me, and then I'm going to turn it around for you to see, because I can't put it together. So now I'm going to turn it around so you can see the bottom. I put that right like that. Oops. And that side. So there is your clover block. So what I did is I sewed these two pieces together, these two pieces together, and then sewed the two rows together. Here it is with the clover block all finished. We've got 6 squares done. The canthal block, which is number 2, I'm not going to redo it to put in here. I just don't think that it would look quite right. But since we made these 2 for 1 week, we've actually got 6 blocks. So I think it's starting to look like a real quilt. I'm enjoying this. I certainly hope you are. If you've got any suggestions or comments you want to make, you know what to do. I will see you again next week. And take care and have a great week. Happy spring.